video, I want to show you how to create rubrics and how you can attach those to assignments. Rubrics make grading really quick. You can also link them to specific standards if you want to track standards mastery. So to do that, I always create my rubrics under resources. You can do it here in a specific class, but if you create something in resources, you'll always have access to it even once the class has been archived. So the first thing I did was to add a folder that I'm calling my standards-based grading rubrics. So I recommend creating a folder for your rubrics, and then once you do that, we can go ahead and create one. So under Add Resources, one of the options then is to add a rubric, and it's going to ask you for a title. So maybe I'm having my students recognize and provide evidence for theme. So this is going to be my theme short answer. And then I can type in the criteria myself here if I want. The other option is to add standards, which they call learning objectives. So if I click on that, under custom learning objectives, the district has actually pushed out the state standards to everyone. So that's where I would start, because otherwise it takes forever to find what you need. So it's going to be under personal, the different grades that you teach. So if I'm making this rubric for 7th grade, this is going to be reading. I know that theme is under key ideas and details. It takes a while to be able to navigate this really easily, but once you do get the hang of it, it becomes really quick. So I know that I want my students to determine the theme of a text, so I can add that as a learning objective, and then here it is. So now when I grade that, it's going to be linked to that standard specifically, and I can make a video for how to see that stuff too. You can change the grading scale if you want. You can type more information about what earns a student full points for that. I can also go and add additional learning objectives. So I do want them to determine the theme, but maybe I also want them to give me evidence. So I also want to include cite several pieces of textual evidence to support it. And then maybe I also want them in their response to offer an objective summary of the text. I can click as many as I want. If I go back to different sections, it's still going to remember all of those standards that I selected. So now I have those as my rubric. It's automatically going to add up for you what the total amount of points is that they could earn. If I want to add a category that isn't necessarily directly linked to a standard, I can do that by clicking criteria, and I can create my own. So let's pretend there wasn't a standards for mechanics, usage, grammar, and syntax. I can add one myself. So once I do that, I have my total points. Of course, I can change those points if I want to. I click create, and now I have that rubric ready to go. So once I have that, I then need to export it to all of the classes that it pertains to. So I can go right here, add to course, and then I can click all of the different courses I want to add it to. So since this rubric was for 7th grade, I'm just going to send them to 7th. But if this was a rubric you could use with all of your classes, you could do that too. And I click add, and now that rubric is a part of my classes.